Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Beyond Boardroom Business. I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and tonight it's about learning about protection. That's right. I have a trailblazer here, someone who owns a security service, and he is here to give us some tips and tools on how we can protect ourselves, women, men, children, families. We need to come together and we need to be able to defend ourselves. This is 2025 and it's time to be on top of our game. So without further ado, let me introduce you all to Mr. Reggie Gibbs. Greetings, Mr. Gibbs. How are you tonight?
Outstanding. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing phenomenal. Thank you for asking. And thank you for being here tonight. I always, as a podcaster, as a coach, strategist, I always think and always talk to my clients about the importance of protection. And so I just definitely had to have you on the show. And thank you again. So, can you tell us a little bit about who is Reggie Gibbs?
What you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. I I've been doing this since I can remember, and I guess I'm a man of not many words, as you can see. I'm kind of stuck right now, but
That's okay.
if you ask me more questions, I'd be able to answer it. But I'm just what you see is what you get. I'm
All right.
transparent. I'm a man first, and I'm everything else second.
Well,
So
that's good to know. So let's start off with how did you even get started with security? How did that come about?
um, interesting story. I was technically it was never a goal for me to be security. I just fell
Wow.
upon it. I worked in the gym. I was a lifeguard. I was always in shape. Big dude. Played
Okay.
football at high school. Um, Wanted to have a background in marketing and sales and advertisement or acting or something. Anything other than security, I wanted to do. And so once I graduated high school, I was working for this gym, and I was doing security on the side, like like little parties and stuff like that. But at the end of the year, being a lifeguard, it was this club that threw a party every year, and I was a lifeguard for that particular party. So, they had this big fun time, blah 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 blah. And I'm talking to the guy who owned the club. I said, "Hey man, the summer's over. I'm no longer a lifeguard. I need a job." He said, "Okay, come to the club, on this day and time or whatever, and then we'll talk to you." And I started up being a bar back at a club.
A
So
bar back? What's a
yeah,
bar back?
bar back is basically somebody who cuts the fruits, prepare the
Oh,
ice,
okay.
bring the glasses, just everything a bartender needs, the bar back does. So
Okay.
you see guys carrying big loads of ice and stuff. That's the bar back. The bar back
Okay.
is the most underrated person in the club.
Mm,
So,
gotcha.
and we didn't get tipped out until the end of the night. That's from bartenders, wait staff, stuff like that. Because we made sure that the ice stayed cold. We made sure the ice stayed cold. Type thing.
Yes, that's important.
That's important. I did that job all for 1 week. you know, I talked to the I talked to the security guy. I said, "Hey man, I need a job, man." He said, "Yo man, yeah, you a big dude. Come on." That's pretty much what it was. You a big dude. Come on. So I started
Wow.
doing security for this club, you know, and it was cool, but it wasn't really, quite. I was like 19, so it was not 18, 19. So I still wanted to party and stuff. So
Okay.
anyway, um, I started doing more stuff here and there and stuff. So and I kind of got out of it a little bit because it was just too much. And then I had a guy who introduced me to some football players and stuff like that. And I started doing security for parties and stuff like that. And I was still working in the gym, personal training and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of hit the fan when some things happened and it took a turn where I needed to find a job or I'd be going to jail for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I started working for MCI. That didn't last long. And I lived in Decatur on Columbia Drive.
Okay.
And it was a club called Jazzy Tees.
I remember hearing that club.
Jazzy Tees. Yeah. So I went to Jazzy Tees and I said, hey, man, I need a job. And the security guy looked at me. He looked me up and down. He said, come see me at whatever time. And
Wow.
I started doing security for clubs, and that's how everything started to take off.
Wow.
I wasn't like, I'm destined to be security, Always been fascinated with the military. Always been fascinated with, that type of work. Never really was friendly with police officers, anything like that. But always been interested in the detective side or 007 James Bond, like spy type stuff. So I've always been in the guns and, stuff like that. Just not the police type work or whatever.
Okay, so let me ask you, how is it? Is it a lot of crime out here, or is it television, just the news? Is it just negative news, or do we really need to secure ourselves? What's going on out here?
Absolutely. I can think of, maybe because it's woven in my DNA at this point, or I think at this time in January 2025, everybody needs some form of security.
Wow.
Apartments, clubs, restaurants, grocery stores. The need for security is so massive that people don't realize, how important it is until it's after the fact. I've been in situations where something pop off, and first thing people say is, "Well, where was security?"
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I say, well, security would have been here if they would have been hired. There's no security here. Yeah, security here, but people expect security to do everything.
Right.
It's just amazing how people say they don't need security, but I might go to an apartment complex and tell them they need security or whatever. Oh, we good. They don't need security. And then I look at Channel 2 Action News. They're like, the woman shot, 12 times, What was security? That kind of thing. So people don't really realize they need security till after the fact. They think it's wasted money, but it's not.
Yeah, so should people know self-defense as well as owning a handgun or a shotgun, or one or the other? What's your best advice?
As far as self-defense?
Yeah, or safety protection. Period.
Well, the first thing is to be aware of your surroundings. Critical thinking is a real thing, and I'm gonna keep my answers simple so a child can understand it. I can try to articulate certain things and give you technical terms, but I'm gonna just keep it simple, stupid. Keep it.
Right.
I'm just gonna dumb it down. You should always be aware of your surroundings. Watch who's watching you.
Yeah.
And keep that in mind, and women, it's okay to have a registered firearm on you and to be aware on how to point and shoot to defend yourself. You don't have to be afraid, because criminals don't care what you got. They want to make sure they got the advantage. But as long as you know in your mind what you can do, you'll be a lot better. It could be something as simple as, it's one thing that drives me up a wall is when, let's say I have a client or a friend of mine or whatever, and we may be leaving a restaurant or whatever, and she'll sit in the car and just stay in the car and not pull off. Like
Okay.
you are sitting duck. Why? Get your behind in your car, start it up, and leave.
Gotcha. That's good
Right.
to know.
And when you go home, make sure that everything that you need is in your passenger seat, so you can get in and get out the car. Those are if I've had clients where I've shown them where they sit in the car for a long time, how they can get robbed
Yeah.
or be targeted. Because it's easy. Like if you sit in your car, the longer you in your car, the better it is for me. Because I
You're
can see.
right. So let
Go
me ask you.
ahead.
Uh, so if we're coming from a party, should we go straight home or should we go somewhere else in another direction if we believe we're being followed, or go straight to a police station, or um,
Yeah, those are simple. Yes, those are things that you can do. Um, but when you exit in the building, like they say, look left and look right when you crossing the street. The same thing. Look behind you and see who's watching you. And if you
yes.
move, if somebody move behind you, just pay attention to that. Just stop and see. If they stop, then they're following you. I mean,
Mhm.
you're not gonna always be aware, but even if you suspect somebody, you look at them and say, "Hey, I see you there.
Okay.
I notice you." But you'd be
Yeah.
surprised at how many people you see walking around like this.
Yeah. You're right. You are so right. Oh
Never,
my gosh.
never looking.
Easy target.
It's been times when I've been in a store, huge like Walmart or some huge store, and I see somebody walking with their head in their phone, and for me to avoid getting hit by them, I stop
Wow. Are
because they
you?
just, I've had people literally bump into me because they weren't paying attention in a
Wow.
in a big room where 10 people can walk side by side. I see people walk right in front of me and bump into me.
Oh, mhm.
You know,
Oh, wow. That's
so
really sad.
it's just situational awareness, just to keep it, when I say situational awareness, keep your head on a swivel. It's a term that we use a lot, and just pay attention to your surroundings.
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
So, is there a lot of drug games and drug usage that's making the streets unsafe?
no,
No? Okay.
I
Okay.
mean gangs and drugs has been around since the beginning of time.
Right.
Is when it's when you put a light on it. Like most. I'm trying to say this strategically. Most drug dealers don't want to be seen,
That's true.
so they try to keep the least amount of attention on them as possible.
That's
Of
true.
course, there's some that want to be out there and want to make a name for themselves and stuff like that, but it's not it's not necessary.
Okay.
So I think it's just um, people just don't take life serious enough to pay attention until because basically I feel like what people say is I'm sorry that happened, but it can't happen to me. That would never happen to me.
Right.
I'm 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 impervious to anything that's gonna happen. That always happened to other people, not me.
Right.
And until it is you,
Yeah. It's always the first time. Yeah.
yeah, then you gotta get on the shot. I can't believe that happened to me. What could I
Yeah.
have done differently? You could have had, mace in your hand. You could have had,
Yeah.
it's something as simple as your keys in your hand for when somebody come at you. You can kind of gouge their eyes. It's all certain things you can use. Everything around you could be potentially a self defense. Um,
Right. That's true.
something it could be used for self defense.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. So should I have mace and a pistol? Should I keep it on me at all times? Should I have a shotgun?
The
How
police
do I?
officers do. The police does. They have all that at the same time. But so when it comes to if you want to switch gears to just what types of weapons, when you look at movies like John Wick or The Matrix or military movies and stuff like that, they use specific weapons for specific situations and specific times. So for self defense, you can use what we call a EDC, which is everyday carry. It could be a small pistol that you can carry on you for protection. You can use it for your car, and you can use something like a shotgun for your house, or or AR-15 or something to protect your home. But when you purchase these things, you should keep in mind what are the purposes for this stuff. In America, you'd be surprised of how many families or black families that don't own a firearm at all. Especially single women, because they're afraid of a gun.
Oh,
You want to
wow.
hear something? Guess what? I'm afraid of guns too.
What?
Absolutely. It don't mean
Wow.
I don't carry it. So I'm afraid of stupid people with guns.
Right.
You know. So the probability of me, I'm going home. I'm going home,
I know
and
that's right.
I want everybody else to go home too. But I think, in my opinion, the black family in America should have at least 3 guns. They should have one for a handgun,
Okay.
a long range gun for hunting if needed for food,
Okay.
and a shotgun for protection of the home. You know, you should have, if you got, if we, I don't really eat meat. So, meat going on a hunt is just not a thing. But if people who eat meat and they want something, they have to have something to go out and get it. So maybe like a Rambo knife or something, and like
Okay.
maybe I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this. Just a rifle. It could be a 22 rifle. It could be any kind of rifle for hunting to get your meat. Knife to cut the berries and stuff or whatever. It's just survival.
You're right. How often should we go to the target range to practice?
How you practice is how you play. So if you can go to the range, every day, go every day. That's what extreme is. That's what extreme is. But if you wanna stay on point, I think 1 to 2 times a week would be good.
Okay, once or
You
twice.
know,
Now, I purchased the hollow or the the bullets for target practice, which are different from the ones for my house and my vehicle for the real
gotcha.
protection. Is
Yeah.
that the
So
thing? Okay.
yes, because ammunition is not cheap anymore either.
Yeah.
So the ones that you're referring to is called FMJ. It's full metal jacket, and that's for
Yeah.
target range. So,
Yes.
and then you got things like hydroshock and hollow points and, 911 bullets and devil's breath. You got all kinds of stuff that's out there, you know. But just understand, if you get caught with certain ammunition, they're going to say, what is your purpose for this? What is your
Nice.
purpose for this? Full metal jacket. If anybody got full metal jacket, it's still a bullet, regardless, whether it's for target or whatever. If somebody get hit with a bullet, it's gonna hurt. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
At
But the
least.
key, yeah. But the key is to stop the threat. You know,
Right.
if you feel like you're in imminent danger and you feel like somebody is targeting you, and you have to defend yourself, then use the proper things to defend yourself. And we can
Yeah.
go in depth, with the grain, because there's different grains with the bullet. It's so deep, It's not just I got a gun. If I point and shoot, I'm gonna kill you. No, it got you got to think about trajectory. You got to think about velocity. You got to think about the wind. You got to think about your eyesight. You got to think about is the target moving? Is it still? It's just
Yes.
so much stuff that you got to take under consideration. Now think about
So,
all that. Go ahead.
so how do we educate ourselves? Do we find some videos or do we trust that the person in the store is going to give us the best information?
Oh,
How do we?
person to start trying to get money. They're trying to get money. I don't care what you do with this. Just take my money. How much is it? Stop, take it. Give it to me. But
Right.
there are videos out there.
Okay.
Especially with women. I see a lot of women who does gun tutorials and stuff like that, but they got to be half dressed, or they got to be walking around with tights on, or half of their body showing. It really don't take that. But there are women out there that are very informative when it comes to how to move around when they're armed, and how they conduct themselves and so forth. So, but I think hands-on training is the best.
Yes.
I mean, I got hands-on training, so and I'm pretty decent when it comes to. But you got to think about the fear factor as well. Let's say, for example, if you go to the range twice a week, right, and you score a 100 every time you go,
Okay.
your score is going to drop about 30% when you're in the heat of the battle.
Wow.
Because you don't take in the factor that you're running, you're ducking, you're dodging, you're breathing heavy, you're scared out your freaking mind. Things change. I've been in situations where I had to revert to my training. But when the first bullet come at you, you like, oh, then you got to be like, okay, what? Okay, then instincts start to kick in. So, even the most trained person still has to be cautious and be aware of what they're doing.
Wow.
So
Right.
the more you practice, the better. If you're a basketball player, ask Steph Curry how much he's in the gym shooting He's shooting every day. Every day. Sometimes before practice, sometimes after practice, still shooting. So practice as much as you can. It only makes you better. It only becomes a part of who you are.
Wow. And so when you mentioned about how people don't respect the pricing for hiring security service, I mean, you are really taking your life on the line every time.
Every day. Every day. Every day. I've had clients ask me and I don't think they know how disrespectful they are when they say, well, how much do you charge? And they want just a base price. And when I tell them, well, how much do you charge for your services? My answer is, how much is your life worth?
Right.
And they look at me like, what do you mean? I said, I can't answer that. I don't know what you need. So we don't have just a basic service for, I mean, it could be many different scenarios. I'm not going to give you I never understood how somebody can ask you, how much are you going to charge me to protect my life, when I don't know how your life is in danger, what's required,
Right.
So you got to educate me. You got to help me help you. So don't just, so when I give you a price, why I'm charging you this, because this is what you need, and this is what I have, and this is what you require. So you could say.
So when celebrities hire you, is it an automatic jump because it's more eyes on them as opposed to a CEO somewhere?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
When sometimes celebrities don't even want security.
Wow.
It's the label they work for, or stuff like that. Most people who want security is people who wants to appear to be more important than what they are.
I got you. Ego. Okay.
Yeah, it will be more important. If you walk around, like if you look at some of these celebrities like LeBron James or Kyrie Irving or Mike, they don't have bodyguards. They don't need. Of course they're some of the most important people in the world. But when you do stupid stuff and you got a target on your back, you're gonna need security. But the only time that people really need security when they entertain us is when the label, because you are in the limelight, you are going on tour, you are going here, you going there. But every day, no. Unless you just do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, they think about it as a they're not purchasing protection, they're purchasing a another Birkin bag or something like that, or that's too much or whatever the case may be. But that's how much your life is worth. When you paying me is what you feel like your life is worth. So
Right.
just think about that. Just think about how 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 important it is for you to come home tonight.
Ooh, that part.
That's how much I charge.
Right.
Because
Right.
if I'm with you, that means I'm telling you, I'm whatever happens to you happens to me first.
Mm, that's right. Wow.
So if you can respect that, I don't need to be around you.
Mm.
I need
So,
you to respect that.
so do you have opportunities to talk to try to give tips to young, especially Black men that you see them kind of going astray, and with you and your knowledge and wisdom, are you able to, drop some nuggets to kind of help save them from the pitfalls that you see?
When they ask, yes. A
Okay.
lot of times, when you see people going down their path, which I was the same way. I don't need nobody telling me what to do or stuff like that.
Mhm.
Some people learn from other people's mistakes. Some people
Right.
learn from their own mistakes. I was one of the ones who learned from my own mistakes.
Awesome.
But I didn't realize how different I was until until the until the separatism came. You know, it's kind of like you feel like you're on the same level with somebody, and all of a sudden you steady climbing the charts, and you see people still where they are, and you
Right.
wonder like we had the same opportunities. Why aren't you with me?
Right.
Is the work ethic? You know, people want stuff handed to them and they're not willing to bust their behind to get it. We do apartment complexes all around the metropolitan Atlanta area, uh,
Wow.
and we don't do clubs anymore, but we still do some executive protection. We do a theater, we do apartments, and the one thing that the point I'm trying to get across is the fact that uh, what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Well, let me ask you, since you started talking about your business, which is Sons of Light Security, how did you come across that name?
Well, it's it's a part of I'm a part of an organization, and and the name of it is King Solomon number 5.
Okay.
So, but the SOL is capitalized. S.O.L. Son
Okay.
of Light. So
Okay.
Sons of Light Security kind of tied into it. So
I see. Beautiful.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at the symbol, it's um it's a close resemble. It
I
closely
see.
resembles a crest from a certain degree. That's part of my organization.
Wow. Nice. It looks nice. I
Thank
love
you.
your brand, your logo.
Thank you.
Yes. And the reason I asked you about mentorship is because you and I, we have someone in common, um, on
Who?
different levels.
Who's that guy?
My
Who?
one of my financial mentors, Alistair Edwards,
Who
I've
is that guy?
come to find out that you know him as well, but in a different way. So how did you come to learn about Mr. Alistair Edwards?
Alistair. Alistair. Let me tell you something. I met Alistair uh, when I was washing his car at the
Wow.
Finish Line Car Wash in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I never forget it. He had I think it was a white Ford Expedition with peanut butter interior. Clean. I mean, it was
Oh,
clean. You
when was
know,
this? How long ago?
God, this had to be 2000 maybe,
Okay,
early,
wow.
like yeah, early, yeah, 2000 maybe. Had to be
Okay.
20 something years ago or more. I was hard times. I
Okay.
was on some hard times. I think at that time I had moved back in with my parents. I was facing a little situation I was telling you about. I don't know if we talked about it on air, but yeah, my little situation. And I was staying with my parents, and I had a hard way to go. You know, um, during the time I'm working there. Anyway, so he used to come like once a week, and he used to come to me to do the dressing, the tires and the interior and stuff. And he said, "Man, every time I see you, you busting your tail. Like you work." He said, "You don't belong here."
Wow.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You articulate. Your work ethic is different. You make sure like you clean this car like it's yours." I said, "Well, I mean, what else am I supposed to do?" He said, "That's the point." He said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" I said, "You can give me a job." He said, "For real?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You want a job?" I said, "Absolutely." He said he work in Publix, and he's opening up a new store. And he wanted to come there, And I met up with him, and I got hired, and then come to find out, after I got hired, I realized I had to turn myself in for something that happened previous to that. So, to make a long story short, my beautiful parents, took me to the jail to turn myself in, and they drove to get the deed for the house to put it up to bail me out.
Wow!
It was an all-day process. I mean, I was there at 7:00 in the morning, and I waited all day, and they bailed me out. And I changed clothes on the way from being bailed out to my first day at Publix.
Wow!
I clocked in right on time.
Wow! What a story!
And Alistair knew what was going on. I was transparent with him. And he was like, "Well, you just need a second chance. That's all." And I bust my ass. Excuse me, I bust my behind working at Publix.
Wow!
And that's how I met Alistair.
Yeah.
And it lasted for a long time. And then I got myself back on my feet. Then I started, doing security. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, he's one of my financial mentors, and I've learned a lot from him. And I love his drive, his sincerity, he's just so genuine. And you're a prime example. He has no ego involved.
He's firm but fair.
Yeah.
He's firm but fair. He's getting me like, "Yo, Reggie, if I remember correctly, he has a West Indian background, so that discipline is in him. And he wasn't, I would consider him a friend, but he was, I don't really use the word mentor. I use Jegna.
Okay. Yes.
So mentor is a name I just rather not use.
Okay.
Y'all can look up the history of that. That'd be another podcast. But but other than that, he was an example of what I wanted to be, and he was an example of what I wanted to be when I got in a leadership position. Wow. So once I got my bearings together, I made sure that anybody that needed a job, they got it.
Wow.
Yep.
Because of that. Wow. You just paying it forward.
Yeah, everybody needs a second chance. Everybody needs a second chance.
That's true. I agree. Yeah. I agree. And we need second chances. We need protection. We need it all. I mean, I really appreciate this conversation. By the way, I want to send a shout out to Stephanie Bell. I mean, she's the one. Yeah, she's the one that helped bring us together. Or you have any thing you would like to say to her or Alistair or anything before we close out?
Well, Alistair, hey, you've always been an inspiration to me, and continue to do what you do. I'm a product of his grace, and I'm a product of his sincerity, and Stephanie, she just never ceased to amaze me. Like Stephanie, if you tell Stephanie you want something in life, she make it her life goal to make sure that happens.
Wow.
Yeah, Stephanie don't, be careful what you tell Stephanie. If you tell her you want, she gonna make it happen.
That's true. That's
Big
true. She's
asset.
a woman. She is great. They're both great people, and you as well. So I really appreciate you being here. And how can people find you if they need security?
We have a Facebook page, which is
Okay.
Sons of Light Security Incorporated. On
Okay.
Facebook, it's the same. On Instagram, Sons of
All
Light Security Incorporated. Also, I have a page on Facebook called Atlanta Security United. That's
right.
basically where anybody that's in security can apply for a job on there, or they could put jobs on it.
Wow.
So,
Well,
uh,
thank you so much. Do you have any closing words you would like to say to our viewers and listeners?
um, it's the last end of a statement or a quote from Charles Swindle. He said, and this from the, I don't know, I guess it's a poem, I guess. It's called
Okay.
Attitude. Attitude. At the end, he says, I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to you and
Mhm.
90% of how you react to it.
Yes. So true.
So that's, I leave you with that quote.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And I would love for you to come back in a couple of months so we can follow up and learn more tips and tools on how to protect ourselves and our families.
Oh,
And I mean,
absolutely. This is just an introduction. This is introduction. This is,
yes, yes.
we only
Just
scratch the
getting
surface.
started.
Yeah. So
I
I
love
really
it.
appreciate it. I'm nervous as heck. So,
That's
I hope I
okay.
did well.
You did perfect. I've learned so much. I know to
Really?
have a base. Yes, I really wanted to know if I needed to have a shotgun. And now I'm ready.
Yes.
So thank you for that. I
You're welcome.
appreciate that information.
You're welcome.
All right. So thank you again so much. And I look forward to seeing you again. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I mean, Mr. Reggie Gibbs, make sure if you need security, if you're a celebrity or not, if you need some security, make sure you look up Sons of Light Security Incorporated. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Beyond Boardroom Business with your host, Coach Stephanie. And I look forward to seeing you all or hearing you all. Make sure you write, make sure you like, subscribe, make sure you tell your friends and family about this podcast. And if you know anyone who's a trailblazer that needs to be on this show, just make sure you contact me. Until next time, I'll see you every Thursday night, 7 p.m. on my social media. And I look forward to you all. Until the next time, stay prayerful, stay persistent, and stay patient. Thank you all. I hope to see you all again soon. Peace.